Right there, Jack.
I'm good, John, yes. How are you today?
It's quite noisy in here today, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's quite noisy.
Yes, that's right.
Anyway, so we're here with Joe Knaggs, the main man himself from Knaggs Guitars. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Johnny?
I'm good, I'm good. Are you fed up with the noise yet?
Yeah, I was just going to say, here we are at Noisy NAMM, right?
Noisy NAMM, Noisy NAMM. So,
not as bad, though. The drums aren't up here, so...
Oh, no. Thank God for that. So, we just want to obviously talk about the new guitar that we have here, the Kenai J, but we just want to kind of get a little bit of kind of insight to perhaps for a few of the customers that don't know Knaggs Guitars and kind of a little bit of your history and stuff like that as well. I know a lot of our customers will know that obviously you was with BRS, right. But obviously you've come into your anniversary year making Knaggs Guitars as well. So yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so obviously, as Johnny said, I worked with PRS for 25 years. I designed a bunch of models there. I ran R&D, and I ran what was called the private stock line, the really high-end guitars. And I also ran a department that built all the artist guitars. So that was my history there in a very short, brief, message. But in 2009, I had been thinking about starting my own business since 2000, and it took me 9 years to kind of make that decision. And of course, I made it at the very worst time I possibly could. But I felt like it was time to go, and not the reason to get out of PRS, but because I had designed a few models on my own in that time where I worked at PRS. I designed the Chop Tank, and I designed the Severn, the Patuxent, and the Potomac acoustics. And I did this because I played a Fender Stratocaster all my life, and I like 25.5-inch scale guitars, but I also wanted to take what they did on a Strat and on a Telecaster and kind of improve it and take it up a notch. So that's really where the theory of the business came from, and I developed the bridge for the Chop Tank, which was made out of all steel. When I first looked at a Tele, I kind of wondered why they didn't screw the bridge down in the front, because it was sitting up a little bit. And of course you don't get the vibration and sustain through that. So me and my buddy Eric Johnson built a bridge. We milled it out of hardened steel, and I put that on the Chop Tank that I had developed, and when I first played it, it rang better than any guitar that I've ever played in my life. So that was kind of the basis for going, you know what, I think we really got something here, and let's go ahead and move forward with this. And so finally made the decision 9 years later to start the business, and we started Knaggs Guitars in 2009. Peter Wolf obviously came over with me, and so did one of the other guys from PRS, Danny Dito. So that's where the business started. So I developed those guitars because I really wanted a guitar that I would really want to play all the time, okay? So I also developed two acoustic guitars, and that I took my C10 Collins and mended it with a Dreadnought, a Martin Dreadnought. The Dreadnought to me was always too big to sit on the couch and play. The C10 was an awesome guitar, but it lacked a lot of bass because it's a very small guitar. So I developed the Patuxent, which was in between. So the Patuxent and the Potomac are sort of like a Martin OM, except for the back end is more like a Dreadnought. So it's its own shape, and a 25.5-inch scale. So that's where those models came from, the Severn. So I wanted to make a tremolo version of that same Chop Tank bridge. So we chopped that bridge in half, and we stuck a pin through these holes. It didn't really work very well. It kept going out of tune. So what we did is we redeveloped and put these dog ear pins in there and some ball bearings. So now what happens is that bridge is on a hinge, okay? So it's not knife edge screws on the front, like your typical PRS or Fender or whatever else. So this is a really different tremolo, okay?
Very smooth, isn't it?
It's very smooth, and it really stays in tune because it's going off of ball bearings. As long as those ball bearings don't go bad, it's going to go back into tune. And everybody that I've talked to says, man, that guitar it goes right back in tune, almost like a Floyd Rose. Yeah. So that's where that developed into, and that was another stage of the business. And then when we started the business, we also wanted to have a 24 3/4-inch scale. So I developed the Kenai, I developed the Chenna, I developed the Kia, and the Cheyenne. And we did all this really quick.
Well, if I can just jump in here really quickly,
Sure.
because you've given a great overview there of the stuff that you do. And for anyone watching who was previously unaware of the level of detail that you go to, that sums it up really well. But in my experience of your guitars, you just talked about the single cut models that you have. To be able to find all those little intricacies that you have, for example, with your signature models, so where you've got the Steve Stevens,
Right.
the Rappaport and the Eric Steckel, what's your kind of process when you've got to break down such a tried and true single cut design and make it work for those players? And you have done, because each guitar sounds so different.
Yeah, we'll start with Steve, okay? You know, we first started with the SS1, and that was more of the Kenai shape, okay? And it had the Influence bridge on it, okay? Which that's a one-piece tunematic bridge. And the reason I came up with that is I wanted the ring from the back end of the bridge to be transferred into the tunematic into the center of the body.
Right.
So the one thing that I always hear, and I just bring this up because we were just talking about the SS1 yesterday, and the guy Bartek from Germany said it's his favorite guitar. Well, that bridge has a certain ring to it, and he said to me that it sounds like a cross between a Les Paul and a Telecaster. And that kind of makes sense, because the bridge has more clearness to it and more sustain to it. So you kind of get a little more harmonics out of it. Anyway, so that's where it started with Steve Stevens.
Yeah.
Now Steve is more used to the normal Les Paul sound, and he wanted something a little more along that lines. So we put a Tone Pros bridge on it, okay? We lengthened the body a little bit and made it a little rounder. So that was his model, okay? And we did the SS2, and then we did the SSC, which is, it just allows the model to continue under his name. It's not a limited number, okay? But working with Steve's great, because he has certain things that he wants, certain things that he's used to, okay? I will say, when I watched him play the SS1 on tour, I thought he sounded brilliant, okay? Because his sound cut through over the Les Paul that the rhythm guitar player was playing. But Steve likes that fatter, chunkier sound, you know?
I mean, he's one of my favorite guitar players. And
Steve's an amazing...
he was playing that gold top with the wraparound for a long time, wasn't he? And so that was kind of part of his sound, that more snappy, immediate thing.
Right.
But I mean, that's just great to hear that it's obvious that you focused on every detail of the guitar and made it work for him, and you've applied that to all your artists as well.
Yeah, when we talk to him, we're just, everything he's interested in, we're not sitting there going, no, you know? Because I want him to be happy, you know? My theory on Steve was, if I want him to put his Les Paul down, he's got to like our guitars better.
Yeah.
And so far, so good. So
Absolutely.
that's been a really good, great milestone for us. And it's always a pleasure seeing Steve play. He's a master, you know? And
yeah, I think, but that's really reassuring to people buying the guitars too, because I think people have some reservations about signature guitars, and especially you've built your brand up obviously with loads of models, but the signatures are a really big part of it. And there's always that fear that maybe an artist has just agreed to stick their name on something that's basically the same as a standard model, but there's not that at all.
Definitely not the case with Steve. Steve is a guitar, he's a guitar, what's the right word for it? Connoisseur, okay? He knows every pedal, every string, anything you can think of.
Yeah.
Steve's researched it, okay? And he comes back and goes, hey man, you should check these out. This is really great stuff here, you know? So anyway, that's Steve. And then with Eric Steckel, Eric wanted a thicker guitar, but we wanted to do it based around the Kenai. Yeah. But we also put the wrap around the regular tunematic on that because he was a little more used to that also. But since then, he's played a Kia that JP has, and he was falling in love with that, and part of the reasons for that is because of the bridge, okay? But Eric's a great player, and he looks for certain things, so we work the same way with him. He wanted to see more Duncan Saturday Nights in his guitar. That's the other thing Steve does. He he's with Bare Knuckles, okay? And he works with those guys, Tim, and they develop a pickup just for Steve, and that's what they've done, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then of course we got Larry Mitchell, who's a great ambassador. He's playing the Severn all the time, you know, and he plays a brass bridge so that he can put a humbucking, you know, single coil in the back. You know, and so we work with these guys. We want to hear what they have to say, you know.
Well, speaking of, I think that's a good segue into the new model, because this is something that a lot of people are really, really hot on these days is the kind of going back to a simpler guitar design. And it's really telling of a brand's identity as to what elements go into that guitar. So this is the Kenai Jr. or J, is that right?
Yeah, the Kenai J, right. This is called the Kenai J P2,
okay.
which is 2 P90s, okay?
So what were some of the elements that you wanted to stamp, the Knaggs stamp, on this kind of guitar design?
Well, I would say the biggest thing with this guitar is it's based around the Kenai shape. So it's not a junior shape,
no.
Okay? It's a little bigger guitar, right, than a junior. You know, our guitars are 13 and a half at the waist, I mean at the lower bound.
Right.
You know, for me that adds a little bit more ring, okay? You know, a little bit more bass to it, okay? So you get a little bit more of a low mid-range, I think, okay? We went with Seymour Duncan P90s, and we went with a Tone Pros wraparound, and we went this because people are used to a wraparound bridge. You know, I want to make one of these with our influence bridge on it, but this works out good. People are more used to that. Of course, this wraparound bridge intonates, okay? So that's one step to me in a better direction. You know, the old Junior was the back part of a Tune-O-Matic bridge, and it's like, so they never really
and it either worked
properly,
or it didn't.
You know, but they were great, but they never really intonated properly. So we wanted the guitar to intonate, so obviously that's great. And Tone Pros does a great job with their bridges. They've really, I remember them coming to me in the very beginning when I was with PRS, and we didn't really do anything with them. But I've watched Dwight really do a lot of great things with their bridges.
Right.
They come out with a really great alloy that sounds really good, you know?
Very light, the guitar as well,
We
very
try
light.
to use lighter, you know, a little bit lighter wood, but not super light, you know?
They lose a lot of low end, don't they? I find when the guitars are too light, they just don't have the bottom end to them, do they?
agree. So somewhere in the middle, Johnny. You know.
Yeah.
You want the snap as well, don't you? But
that too, exactly. But really, super heavy guitars can be very trebly and kind of stale, you know. But they might have a little bit of low end in them. But anyway, to me, the biggest thing with this guitar, we make our necks a certain way. Okay, so you go back to, you know, the nuances of building guitars. Okay. I always call it this, all right? When a great player like you, great player like Steve, great player like Eric, JP, okay? When they pick the guitar up as a professional player, Johnny, you're probably a great player too.
Used to be.
He is.
Used to be.
I call it the extra 10%, okay? You know, all guitars are up to a certain level. There's some real crap, there's some good stuff, there's some pretty good stuff, okay? And there's some really good stuff, you know? I look at it like a professional artist is going to hear that other 10%. Okay, that last 10% that a professional can hear and feel. Because I want my guitars to sustain, okay? You can always stop them from sustaining. You can't make them sustain more unless you use an overdrive pedal or something. You know, but even there, I want the guitar to sustain, so when you're using that overdrive pedal, it really blooms. When the guitar sustains, the note blooms, okay? You got harmonics that stack on top of each other, and that grows. So if you put your ear to a guitar and you pluck the note, you can listen to it go up, it'll go down, it'll go up, and really not good guitars decay and go down. Okay, really good ones go up, they level, they go up again, they might go down a little bit, they go up again, they level, and they go up again. That's all the different harmonics feeding that note so that it can continue on, you know? And that's the biggest thing, I think, with our guitars. That's what I hear out of people. Man, your guitars ring forever, your guitars ring so nice. They also describe them to have this certain clarity, you know, this certain, it's that harmonic level, you know? So anyway, that's really the main thing that I look for. And then on top of that, you want them to look really nice.
Sure.
So,
But what's nice about your stuff is that, you know, because you obviously had such great experience in the guitar building world, all these changes that you make, you know how to make them, but you do it incrementally. You don't throw everything into one model at once.
Right.
And so, like, for example, now, I believe in the past few months we've started to see some relicing and some checking on your guitars, which I think is quite new for you.
Right, yeah.
So what kind of made it seem like this was the right time to bring that into your guitars?
Well, what I can say is that our guitars aren't cheap. Okay, you know, they're pricey, and rightfully so. By the way, we don't make much money. People always think that a guy that's charging a lot of money for a guitar is making a lot. No, we're not. Okay. We wanted a guitar that was a little bit lower in price. That, you know, I have fathers who bought 5 Knaggs, and, you know, I like to give my kid a guitar. Well, here you go. It's still not inexpensive. It's not a Korean guitar or whatever where it's $300, but it's not $1,500 more. So they feel okay doing that, and then it's not the end of the world if the kid stops playing or whatever. Yeah. You know, the Relic to me is a nice feel. You know,
it is a nice
when
feel.
we got this guitar done, I looked at Lucas, I go, I'd buy that guitar. Yeah. You know, so.
And you haven't overdone it either, you know, because some guys go way overboard. But again, having that knowledge and experience you've had, you know how just to push it to a certain level, and then maybe just a little bit beyond the brink, but not to the extreme.
So I'd like
the beauty with this, sorry to interrupt there, Joe, is you can just see how thin the finish is as well, which is obviously adds a lot to the tone of the guitar.
Yeah, it's not real thick. You know, we sand in between each coat, get them as thin as we can. This all nitro here. Yeah. I'd like to go back to one last thing that we kind of touched on. The way we make our necks, to me, is probably the biggest thing that allows the guitar to ring the way it does, okay?
Right.
I went to a pull stick maker, all right, in Baltimore, high end. I don't know if I've said this to you before, but they make like $1,500 pull sticks, okay? They had 1,000 1x1 blanks, okay? They get down to 50 in the end that can make a pull stick, okay? Because they mill it, they let it sit, they mill it, they throw the ones that warped away, they throw them in the fireplace, okay? Finally, those last 50 will stay straight enough for a professional pool player, all right? So we do our necks the same type of way. We level, okay? We let them sit, we re-level, we let them sit again. We level again the face, okay? We slot and round the fingerboard and let them sit, and we level that. We glue them together, and then we re-level all that when we round and fret them. So by the time it's said and done, you got 5 or 6 leveling processes. Yeah. So the reason I bring that up is because a guitar that's at rest, okay, truss rod and everything, is gonna ring way better than one where the truss rod is super tight and there's all this tension on the neck. If a neck is bowed backwards really bad and you tighten the rod to bow forward, it's gonna buckle because you're pushing it together and it's gonna have humps in it, okay? There's no way around that. So your goal is that it's not moving when you finally start to fret. I like to get the rod in a relaxed position, level that neck so that
you don't want to rely on it.
Only going a little bit either way, okay? That I think is probably the key to the guitars.
And I think this is our job to communicate this a lot more to our customers and kind of just, you know, these smaller details that are often overlooked by a lot of other guitar makers, and they're big considerations for our customers as well to find out about this stuff as well. So it's really cool insight to know.
And it's clear you're really proud of the efforts you put into the neck design, as well as everything else in the guitar. But
I want a professional to pick the guitar up and go, you know what, this is a different tool. I might write some different music with this. You know, whatever it is. You know, that's how I feel about it. You know, I want the professional to come back and go, man, I love playing this thing. You know, so.
And that's the biggest kind of testament to the quality. If an artist can go to a store, pick up one of their signature guitars,
play a old vintage, they can get whatever they want. Yeah. You know, in the end, if they walk out with yours over a 61 Strat or a 59 Les Paul for that matter, you've really done something. So
yeah, that's right. And I think
that's our goal.
On top of all that, though, you said about the looks, you've definitely got a signature look going on. And this year, we'll get some shots of it, but you've definitely got a red and black theme.
Yeah, actually, Peter came up with that because the Mets of Barba.
That's why.
There you go. I don't think so, but
maybe not.
The Mets of Barba theme is red and black, so we wanted all the guitars to match in the booth.
Do you want to talk about this one a little bit more, being a Steve fan?
I guess we can, yeah. I mean, so this is the Severn X. or was it the
This
7
is the
XF?
7
in fact?
XF, okay,
Yeah.
with the bare knuckle SXF pickups in there.
So what made him want to go for something like this? You know, in addition to the SSC, was he after more of a a high performance?
He plays like Rebel Yell, and well, maybe not that, but some of the songs, Steve has certain guitars for certain songs,
Yeah.
and we wanted him to play like Eyes Without a Face with this. I don't know if he is, but so he wanted something else, okay, that could maybe take the place of the other guitars he was playing. So that's why we came up with this with him.
It's an absolutely amazing guitar. I mean, we've had a few in now, I think, and every time I play one, the same as I was saying before about even within the realm of just the single cut guitars you do, there's a defining character with each one. Obviously, this is going to sound different because it's completely different makeup.
Yeah, different bridge as everything else.
But you can identify it straight away. And so, you've achieved what you wanted to achieve. They're different sounding guitars, but it still sounds like a Knaggs.
Gotcha.
So your identity is still in there. Steve's identity is still in there.
Right.
And I imagine anyone that picks it up will have their own kind of way of transmitting what they want to play through it, because it's just got such a unique character.
Well, it's good to hear.
And
really great stuff to hear.
And they look amazing too.
Thank you.
That's
thank you.
And for Steve Stevens, he needs it to look amazing.
Yeah, we're going to be doing little videos at the shop, so we'll make sure to get them out there. It kind of shows us working and shows what we do, the extra steps we take or whatever, and we go from there. I just did one where we went up to get wood, and it described us picking it out for weight and what we're looking for, and those are all characteristics that people don't necessarily understand that go into building a really high-end guitar.
It doesn't just
it's
turn up.
hours and hours.
Yeah, the guitar all the pieces don't just
They
turn up.
don't build themselves.
Yeah, and you finding the right curly maple tops and all that kind of stuff. It's not, it's not just easy, is it? So there's a lot of work that goes into sourcing all the components. And I bet when you get like these, the bottleneck in supply where you're waiting on pickups and all that kind of stuff, people just think that it just happens.
No, it happens all the time, especially when you get a set of pickups that you don't usually carry, and next thing you know, you're trying to put the guitar together, you don't have the pickups, you know what I mean? So, or they sent them and they were wrong. So, all those things happen on a daily basis.
Yeah, I know, that happens to us
It's
as
just
well.
like any other business,
I know.
anything else you do, same deal. So.
Well, thanks, Joe. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank
and
you
thanks
guys
for
very
just
much.
clarifying the fact that we wanted to put across is that you're the guy behind this company. You're its namesake, but you're still so involved in every decision along the way.
I build every day.
Yeah, and that's what I think people will appreciate. So thanks.
And I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
it's great to meet you.
thank you very
Thanks
much.
for your time, Joe.
Great to see you guys. Real pleasure, Johnny. Always great playing again. Thank you for doing a
Thank
great
you,
job
sir.
demoing our guitars.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And thank all you guys.
Thanks for watching, guys.